Welcome everyone. We are back for episode 4 now, which we are going to be building out the hero section for our full site build for the Mr. Plumber website. Let's go ahead and dive into Etch. I'm going to go to Pages. I have my home page already. I'm going to go ahead and launch or edit with Etch. And we have a blank canvas. You'll notice that the header and footer that we have are not showing here, and that's okay. Eventually there will be a way to toggle those on to see them with your page, but currently they're not showing here, and that is okay. I'm going to start off with a section here, and we're going to call this main hero. I'm going to have my inner. We're just going to try and get all of the elements placed on this page here. First, we're going to have a total of 2 columns in our hero here. First one, we'll call it content wrapper, and the second one, if you haven't guessed it, will be media wrapper. Inside my media wrapper, I'm going to put an image. I'm going to change that to a figure. Actually, let me undo what I just did there. Put our image back in there, and this should be our figure. My apologies. I also want to put in another div with some text in it, and we'll name this the callout and callout text. In our content wrapper, we are going to need, let's see here, we're sure going to need a wrapper for this, a wrapper for this, a wrapper for this, and I think these can all go together. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate wrappers in here, and I will go with flex div for all of these and duplicate that. We'll call this the heading wrapper. We'll call this the CTA wrapper. Feature wrapper. Did I do that wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got my heading. The buttons, the features. Why do I keep counting 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how I kept doing that. My apologies, y'all. And we'll go rating card. And this rating card is going to be a component where everything else is not going to be. So in here, we're going to have a heading and 2 items of text. Have a marketing heading and our lead. This is going to be an H1 up here. Our CTA wrapper, we need 2 links in here. Call this primary CTA, secondary CTA. And here we're going to need 2 divs. I'll actually end up just duplicating that. Call this feature inner. And in here, we're going to need an SVG and some text. Feature icon, feature text, we'll duplicate those. And then lastly, in our rating card, we are going to need an SVG and 3 items of text. All right, so on my rating card, I am going to create a component right away with that, and we are going to BEM that right away and hit save and exit and save. Let me pull this back down so it's not taking up all of our real estate here. All right, so we got a lot in here. I think we have just about everything we need. Make sure it's all labeled properly here. The reason I made this a component right away is when I go to BEM class everything else here, it's not going to try and do that. Again, eventually there will be a way to exclude certain items from the list when you go for auto BEM. I think this should be everything that we need. So I'm going to right click, create BEM classes, and everything has a class now. So we can go ahead and start putting in all of our text. I think we'll start with our heading. And if you haven't guessed it, when we look at this, this is actually going to be my H1 here, and we're going to go with our marketing headline here. So it'll just end up being opposite design here, but that's all right. And in our marketing heading, we'll go high quality plumbing and HVAC services. For my lead, get same-day service from Kansas City's most trusted plumbing and HVAC team. No surprises, guaranteed. All right, let's continue on down. Our button is going to say get free quote, and this is going to go to get quote. Our secondary CTA is going to be our dynamic phone number again. Options.metabox.biz settings dot phone underscore pretty, and there we are. I'm going to copy that, paste that here. It's going to become link, and we're going to put our tell in the beginning. All right, we got that in there. Let's continue on down. First icon is going to be our shield, feature text, our next icon is going to be the clock, And the feature text here is going to be same day service. And we'll come back to our rating card after. My call out text down here needs to be financing available. All right. So we got all of that data in there. I think again, I'll start at the top and kind of work my way down. I do know we want to make our background into a linear gradient. So with my background class, I'm going to go linear gradient. Got to put that in parentheses. And to make it easy to show you guys, we can just go red, blue, red, and you can see that it is going from red to blue to red and top to bottom. If in our case we want it to go at a specific degree, I'm going to go with 135 degrees. If I go into my design here, is it going to show us here? It doesn't actually show us our degree here, but you can see it's not a perfect line here. And then we have a total of 3 different colors. So let's jump back in over here. My very first color is going to be our var secondary. Our second color is going to be our var medium, or secondary medium. Which, if I recall right, we don't use medium anymore, so that is going to be our semi-light, I believe. And then lastly, we are going to finish off it looks like it's saying that's the same color, but it shouldn't be. We're going to go secondary. Let's go semi-dark. And we'll have to play with this again in a little bit here. I just wanted to get that in and started, and we can mess around with which one needs to go where. Next thing I want to do is actually set up my inner, which I'm going to set as a grid. And I think for my grid, we're going to go with 3, 2. Or sorry, should be a 2, 3. That works out to be a little bit better. It's not going to be perfect, but it's a good starting point, just so that way we're not stacked up super deep here. For our heading, we want to make sure this is the proper color. We are going to go color of primary, and let me double check this one, semi-light. And that ends up looking a little darker than it does on the other one, so we'll have to check that out in a little bit. I'm also going to change my font size to text M. It's still going to keep our heading font weight, which I'm happy with, and I think I am good with that. Our marketing heading is going to be font size of H1, font weight of heading font weight, and color of white. Now we want to add in spans on our plumbing and HVAC. So I can do this right in the HTML here. And I'm going to do the same thing around HVAC. Sometimes it's easiest to just copy and paste. And then when we come down here, we can target our spans directly and go color of primary semi-light. And it should be helps if this auto expands for me. There we go. And I think I don't actually need the and in there, so I'll take that out. Okay, so we got that set up. It's taking up our 3 lines like we wanted. Our lead is going to be color of white. And the other thing I could do here is find my font color. And we can set a variable of white. And that way we can automatically enter that in. And I'm going to set white to my primary for that one. Now again, just like we did on here, we want a span to go at the beginning and end of this. And I'm going to go back up here and just copy and paste. I think what I'll do is I'm going to check out this color right away. We want my I think I'm going to change these to light instead of semi-light. If I come back in here and we look at our plugins, which why is this not showing my ACSS? Got it. So in the Figma plugin, it actually has a handful more options than it does on our dev site. And what I'm needing is this to actually be lighter than this, or than my actual primary color. And for some reason, this seems to be glitching out on me a little bit. I'm going to hit refresh. I'm going to save once more just to make sure. Don't want to lose all that work. I'm going to say reload. All right. Pull up ACSS again, my colors. And it's not actually letting me click on these. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. So we will have to check back on that a little bit later. At least I got colors picked out. I'm just going to end up having to make that color lighter as we go. All right, so back to what we were doing. We just finished off with our lead here. Next, we're going to go into our buttons. This I'm going to set to button primary. And this I'm going to set to button primary and button outline. And on my button outline, I want my button background color to be primary trans 20, I think is what we did before. And that's not the right number there, so for the right variable, my apologies. Let's see what we got here. It's just button background, okay. There we go. Again, we will have to play with our colors again at some point here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. In my Figma project, we have an icon in here, so I may have to let's see here. Let's try adding it as a before content. And what I need to do is I need to copy the SVG code and get it as a give me one moment to do that. Just doing this on my other screen here, so just bear with me a second. we'll see if I can get this right here. Okay, I don't know if this is going to work or not. We'll try it. One moment here. Apologize, guys. Just need to encode the actual URL because you can't just put an paste an actual SVG right in here. It needs to actually be encoded. As you can kind of see here, it's done specially. So I'm just waiting for that to happen on my other screen. I think while we do that, I can move on to some of my other items here. These I think are going to be inline size of 2 rem of 20 pixels. That ends up being pretty close to inline. And our fill is going to be our primary semi-light. Perfect. Same thing. Here's going to be color of semi-light. I don't need the fill on that because it should be color. Okay, that's the same on both of those. We are going to set these as just like that. Okay. Sometimes the icons need different ways to color it. So one uses fill, one uses color, but we got it working there. We're going to set a gap on here of 0.5 Let's go 0.25. And then for our feature wrapper, this should be next to each other. Let's check that out. Our sizing is our normal text size and our normal gap. It is, however, a little bit bigger of font weight on that feature text. So set our font weight of 600. Perfect. I like that. All right, we'll try this code again. On our SVG, or on our before up here. And does not look like it is working for us. Okay, that's okay. We'll do it the other way here. So inside of my A here, actually, let me do it this way. I'm going to add in SVG. Oh, it did put it right inside for me. Look at that. I can choose my phone. I'm going to put that before the text. We're going to have to add a class to this of main hero. Let's go secondary CTA icon. Inline size of 2 rem. And we're going to do that 20 pixels again, just like we did previously. I actually want that to be a little bit bigger. We'll go 25 on this one. Okay. So now here, making sure I'm on the right class there. I'm going to flex row this and set a gap of 0.5 em. I think it was 0.25 that we used everywhere else. Okay, I like that. Let's change the color. Let's see if we can get away with this. And we can. So that way it's going to follow whatever the color is we have set here, which makes it really nice. I do want to double check up here what we ended up doing, just so I can keep it the same. So $25 picks on that, which was okay, and we did this for our gap. Okay, so let's do that same thing. So that way they are the same. 25 current color. I click save. I want to check this out on the front end. Our CTA wrapper needs to be like this. And we want center, center. Let's go left. Those should be the same height. So I'm thinking that icon is adding a little bit of height that we're not seeing on the other one. So let's fix that. Maybe we will drop it down to 20. And that did not change it, so okay, we'll have to adjust it on this one. Block size, auto, nope. Nope, that's not doing what I'm wanting it to do either. Let me inspect over here. All right, so on this one, our height, 0.85. And 0.85, so where is that extra coming from? Just got to do a little bit of inspecting here to see what is going on. It appears like it's the border that's doing this. Okay. Let's go back. And on our primary, actually, let's double check this. Our border width is what we want, because this one is appearing to be different. Yep, button border width of 2 pixels. That didn't seem to change it. Refresh, double check here. Okay, that's accurate now. Double checking again. Yeah, I'm not catching what is actually different here. I'll come back to that and figure it out another time. Don't want to spend too much time troubleshooting just that one thing. Again, little fine details can take up a lot of time sometimes. So just get the majority of this stuff done and come back to it. All right, let's go to our image here. And this we are going to set as our image here. We want to object fit cover and trying to decide how I want to do this because I'd like to have it kind of zoomed in a little bit here. Start off with our size there. Let's take a look on the front end. Okay. We'll move on to our call out here. So on our figure, we're going to have to set this to position relative, which I can use my quick actions for. And then on my call out, I can do the same thing, except we're going to set this to absolute. And we're going to go inset block end of 0. And inset inline end of 0. Go Z index of 1, background of primary, not primary dark, just primary. Okay. All the way down there, which is not what I want. Got it, because my grid is. So let me fix my card here. And that should maybe help things here. My icon, I need to set to a star. Strip the color. Fill of primary. All right. .9 stars. .35 plus reviews. And established. 1999. All right, so we've got this set as a row. We need our icon to be smaller. I think we'll go with that 25 again, like we were doing everywhere else. Color needs to be white on all of these. I'm going to copy and paste that over. All right, we got that in there. And now for our actual card here, we want our background to be our primary trans 20, just like we did on our button up here. I can double check what we did. Oh, we're in our component, so I can't double check that, but I can come over here to my styles, and it is 20. Okay, perfect. We need padding of space XS and radius of radius circle, and we need a border of 1 pix solid and primary. Let's take a look on the front end. Okay, that's starting to look close. We want our inline size to be max content so that it doesn't span too far. Okay, and we want our gap to be 0.25 M. And I think what we'll do is we're going to borrow this item here, and I'm going to put that on the review. So I'm going to paste that in, space, space. All right, pretty happy with that. We can double check everything is centered properly. And I think we're good to go there. Actually, I did want to set all of this to font size. And why don't we go text S here. Perfect. Copy and paste all of this over. Which means I'm probably going to want to make this a little bit smaller too. Perfect, let's go with that. Again, eventually I will come back and put in some props here and make this data dynamic. I'll probably tie the 4.9 and 35 plus to field on the options page, but for now I'm just going to leave it as static. Let's exit. Okay, back to here. We want to set this as flex row. So it fills out the entire thing. That's perfect. So now my call out is working again, and we want space XS padding for that, and a radius of radius. Let's double check that. We want that to be our font color. We can just add white for now. We want font weight, and we want font size. Of L, we want this to be 600, and we want this to be secondary. And then lastly, we want text transform of uppercase. All right, perfect. And lastly, if we come back to here, we want to go transform, translate. See if I can do this right. Minus 50% and minus 50%. So it's not quite 50 that we want, but maybe 25 on that one. Let's take a look on the front end. I think it should come back a little bit more yet. Let's go with 15. Just want that to hang over just a little bit not too much. I think I'm happy with that. All right, so we got that set. We got our image in there. We got all our data in there. We just gotta mess around with our colors a little bit. Does look like we went semi-bold on that, so I'm gonna have to come back up to here. And we want a font weight of 600 on this. I'll probably have to do that down here as well. It doesn't. Just looks like that is not the same, but apparently it is. So let's go ahead and leave that. All right, hit save. Okay, let's play with our background color a little bit again here. I think maybe I should do dark here and regular in the middle. It still seems that it's darker than I want it to be. Yeah, it seems like our colors are a little bit off here, so we'll have to come back to that at some point here. Again, it's just going to be some fine details that we have to come back to and sort out as we go. Let's take a look at our responsiveness on this. So we probably want I'm thinking at like 1100. I'm going to put in a media query here. Do that, and at go grid 2 for a little bit. Let's take a look here. So I need to actually swap these around. Okay. Pretty happy with that. Okay. And I think what we're gonna have to do on here is put a container query. So to do that, we have to put a has me selector and a container query. And if that gets less than 401, we want this to be flex column. There we go. Pretty happy with that, so it automatically scales. I think I'm going to leave them centered. And I'm also going to copy this and do that on our feature as well. So if those get too small, they stack as well. Okay, I changed my mind on the buttons. We are going to align those. Align items to the start. Perfect. Okay, we are good there. And then I think lastly, on my call out, we're going to put in a media query in here that is, if this is smaller than $650, that we want our to go to 0 and 50. So that way it doesn't hang off at all. Perfect. Scale that back up, and I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm gonna call it there for now. There's a few things I want to do, and maybe another video here, but number one is going to be putting in that background design in here, and then shoring up my colors, because again, it seems like things are not quite how I want them to be, and ACSS is not letting me swap my colors here for some reason. So I have to look into that, and I will get that updated and make the next video, probably just completing that, and then we'll move on to the next part after that. So if you guys have any questions, drop a comment down below, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't. Keep staying tuned for the rest of this series. Again, we're going to build out this entire page piece by piece, along with the entire site as we go. So thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you on the next one.